Dimitria.
Say Lambda, George. Say it. Say it. Ow! Prodigy is a film I just saw on a random night on Netflix, and I was like, okay, is this something I should talk about? And I realized I had a bit more to say about it. The basic rundown of this film, because it's not very well known, it just came out a couple years ago. So what happens is a psychiatrist goes into this very top secret case of this girl who is being, a criminal and is restrained, and everyone's warning him about this girl that she's very dangerous physically, and he doesn't know what to expect. Now, here's where I'm coming from when I see this film. First of all, I'm seeing a little bit of Ex Machina. The way the place looks, the way they kind of talk to each other in these sort of sessions where the subject doesn't talk super genuine. But the thing is, and this is totally coincidence, I freaking wrote a novella that was basically this story. You had a psychiatrist interviewing sort of in a session with this girl who is far beyond her years and is a messianic figure, literally has superpowers and with a brilliant intellect. So when I saw this, I'm like, wait, shit, like someone already got here. Here's one of the drawbacks to this film, in that everyone's saying she has an incredible intellect, she's super smart, she'll get way ahead of you, super great emotional intelligence, has a sociopathic but an intellectual edge. Here's the problem. The dialogue in these sessions, it's not good enough. If you really want to go here, if you really want it to be that this kid is super smart, far beyond her years, you need to have dialogue that is so clever and so way over your head, but at the same time it's stuff that you can easily figure out. And the best comparison I can make is Henry Wotton. All of the things that character says you can pick up and it's clear, but it's also extremely clever, and it's stuff that not the majority of people are going to be thinking. They try to do that in this film, but there's stuff when she says stuff like, how quaint. It's kind of a roll your eyes kind of thing. You're like, oh, dang, you had this cool idea. And then when these characters are constantly saying she has a brilliant intel, I'm like, really? Does she? One thing the film does not give you is an over-the-top performance from the girl. She talks kind of from the back of her throat, kind of through like a commanding sort of way, but it's kind of played at a low base. Like it's not, the crazy facial expressions. So I thought that was refreshing, first of all. Why would I recommend taking a look at this film? It keeps your attention. I'll say that. It kind of reminds me of this film from a few years ago as well. It's called Pet. And you're kind of looking at this, like the dialogue here, the way it's written, and the story. It's like, this could have been like a masterpiece. Like it could have been unfucking-lievable. But from what we've got, it does keep your attention, and you kind of still want to know what's gonna happen. In that regard, I would recommend it. I think the problem is in having a lot of scenes where it's kind of the same scene over and over again. I mean, how many times does that Robert Duvall lookalike sergeant say, oh, absolutely not, we're not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. It happens like 6 friggin' times in this film. You know what's gonna happen by the 5th one. You're just gonna go, okay, well, I guess he's just gonna agree. Or all these people in the laboratory are gonna be like, okay, we'll give you one more chance, I guess. It has some drawbacks to that, and I don't think the dialogue is exceptional for this type of idea. But I will say that one thing that differs from the story I wrote is that this character is supposed to be this prodigy, this person who's way beyond her years but is in this really innocent body, that sort of thing. The direction you think it's gonna go, it doesn't really, and you don't really understand what's going on with this character. Let's just say it starts when they play a game of chess and she says, oh, I've beaten computer simulations like 1,000 times or blah, blah, blah. The way that game plays out and the way it ends, I'm kind of refreshed. I'm like, okay, you're giving a little bit more depth that in, say, a traditional sort of movie, you would go, okay, this is just bland kind of inner conflict sort of thing. With a setup like this, I think it really works, and it gives completely unexpected ending. Your expectations are going to be thrown for a loop, so I think that was pretty cool. Its downside is some of the dialogue and some of the characters and some of the scene layouts. I think that is where it starts to go downhill. I think for such a dialogue-driven movie, it kept me very interested. I wanted to know what was going to happen, and it fooled with my expectations. Our main character, this Robin Williams lookalike, who is going in, talking to this girl, where it's mostly talking, you notice that their chemistry is based a lot on wanting to be the alpha, both of them. And it's kind of like a verbal battle rather than a physical one. It's where you question, is this girl really way above her years in emotional intelligence as well as intellect? And you kind of go, okay, is this how a kid's gonna act, or is this how, you know, this messianic figure is gonna act? You can't really tell throughout a lot of the movie, and that chemistry is what I think drives quite a bit of it. Take a look at this film. You're gonna get at least something out of it. At least your expectations are gonna be thrown for a loop a little bit. And for such a dialogue-driven movie, it kept me interested. I think it just goes downhill in the scene layout and a little bit of the pacing, and some of the dialogue isn't as clever as you wish it could be. That's about it. I'd say check it out. You will probably enjoy it. So who are we and who are you? I'll see you next time. Have a lovely evening.